We often imagine Rome's fall as a violent collapse, barbarians charging the gates, flames rising behind marble columns. But what if the real story is stranger? What if the Roman Empire wasn't destroyed by swords, but slowly poisoned by its own wealth? Because buried beneath the legends of battles and invasions lies a quieter, more unsettling truth. The empire that mastered warfare, engineered roads across continents, and dominated the ancient world was ultimately undone by the very thing that made it powerful: money. Today, we're going to uncover how wealth, greed, and economic decay hollowed Rome from the inside out, long before the first invader ever appeared. And as we peel back each layer, keep one uncomfortable question in mind: are we watching the same story quietly unfold in our world today? To understand Rome's downfall, we need to rewind to the moment when everything looked perfect. At its height, Rome ruled over 60 million people. Its economy stretched across Europe, Africa, and Asia. It minted mountains of gold and silver, fueled by conquest, trade, and taxes. But beneath the surface of this prosperity were warning signs, little cracks the Romans didn't notice, or chose to ignore. First key figure: Augustus. After decades of civil war, Augustus built an economic system powered by one thing: conquest equals money. Conquer a region gives. Seize its wealth gives. Bring it to Rome gives. Fund the empire gives. Conquer more. For generations, it worked flawlessly. Territories poured in gold, slaves, tribute, and resources. But here's the twist: Rome became addicted to growth. It needed conquest not just for glory, but to survive. And like any addiction, the supply doesn't last forever. Yet Rome couldn't imagine a world in which expansion stopped. Why would they? The empire seemed unstoppable. They didn't realize that every victory, every mountain of treasure shipped back to Rome, was pushing them closer to disaster. Rome's problems didn't appear suddenly. They grew slowly, quietly, invisibly. Let's break down the 4 money-related forces that began eroding Rome centuries before the fall. Imagine a city where the rich become gods, and the poor silently multiply in the shadows. That was Rome. Conquest created immense wealth, but it flowed almost entirely to the elite. Senators, generals, landowners, ordinary Romans, they got little. Worse, war captives, enslaved people replaced most of their jobs. A wealthy Roman senator might own 20,000 slaves. A poor Roman citizen, nothing but bread, rations, and hope. The rich built villas with private baths. The poor crowded into crumbling slums. This massive wealth divide was the first crack in Rome's foundation, and it would only grow. Rome had borders stretching thousands of kilometers. Defending them was insanely expensive. Think about it: 300,000 plus soldiers, forts, roads, supply lines, massive administrative systems, subsidies to keep provinces loyal, grain distributions to prevent riots. As Rome grew, so did its bills. Suddenly the empire was like a mansion that looked beautiful from the outside, but inside, every month the electricity bills doubled. Rome faced a brutal economic truth: its lifestyle costs more than its economy could naturally generate. So it turned to the only method it understood: conquer, 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 conquer. But by the 2nd century CE, Rome hit a geographic limit. The Sahara to the south, the Persian Empire to the east, Germanic forests to the north, the Atlantic to the west. The empire ran out of easy targets. No conquests meant no new wealth. No new wealth meant the engine stalled. And when the engine stopped, Rome began consuming itself. As wealth poured into Rome, luxury exploded. Imported perfumes, silks from China, spices from India, gems from Egypt, gold-plated furniture, private feasts costing more than a worker earned in a year. The ruling class developed a taste for luxury they could no longer afford, so they turned to corruption, bribery, and political manipulation. Rome wasn't just rich, Rome was spoiled. Now we reach the turning point. Rome's wealth machine collapses, and the emperors scrambled to hide the truth. Here's how the economic disaster unfolded, step by step. Roman silver coins, the denarius, were the backbone of the economy. But when expansion stopped and expenses grew, emperors faced a choice: cut spending, raise taxes, or cheat. They chose the quickest, most dangerous option: coin debasement. They reduced the silver content of coins to create more money. Under Emperor Nero, coins contained about 90% silver. By the 3rd century, some coins had less than 2% silver. Rome's money became worthless. Inflation exploded. Veterans demanded real gold instead of pay. Merchants doubled prices every few months. The economy was in freefall. To fund the military and bureaucracy, emperors raised taxes relentlessly. Farmers lost land, merchants fled cities, small landowners went bankrupt. Many citizens abandoned their rights just to escape tax collectors. The wealthy hid their assets. The poor had nothing left to give. Rome's tax system, once the backbone of empire, became a weapon that choked its own people. Rome loved importing luxuries from the East. But here's the problem. China and India didn't want Roman goods. They wanted Roman gold, so gold flowed out of Rome in massive quantities. Treasuries emptied. Senators complained that Rome was bleeding wealth like a wound. They were right. When loyalty dropped and citizens refused to serve, Rome had to hire foreign mercenaries, tribal soldiers, outsourced armies. Mercenaries didn't care about the empire. They cared about payment, and payment kept getting harder. Rome relied on money to buy loyalty. Emperor Diocletian passed a law fixing prices on goods to stop inflation. Great idea, in theory. In reality, merchants refused to sell. Markets shut down. The black market exploded. Diocletian responded with harsh punishments, even death. But the economy simply ignored him. You can't legislate your way out of economic collapse. To stop people fleeing their professions, Rome forced jobs to become hereditary. If your father was a baker, you must be a baker. If your father was a soldier, you must be a soldier. This killed social mobility. People felt trapped. Rebellion grew. A system that once rewarded ambition now punished it. Constantine tried shifting power to Constantinople, a richer, more stable region. It worked, for the East. But the Western Empire, it was left bankrupt, leaderless, and vulnerable. And eventually, it collapsed entirely. By the 5th century, Rome's money system was broken beyond repair. When the Western Empire finally fell in for 76 CE, armies were unpaid, roads were crumbling, cities were empty, trade had collapsed, gold reserves were gone. The wealthy fled to the countryside. The government couldn't feed or protect its people. Rome didn't fall because invaders were strong. Rome fell because the empire was too weak to resist. Its wealth, once its greatest strength, had slowly strangled it. Now, here's where things get uncomfortable. Because if you compare Rome's final centuries with modern economic trends, the similarities are hard to ignore. Let's draw just 5 parallels. Rome's rich-poor divide became unmanageable. Today, the top 1% owns nearly half the world's wealth. The cycle looks eerily familiar. Rome debased its currency. Today, major nations print trillions, inflate currencies, and accumulate historic debt levels. Are we repeating Rome's mistakes? Rome imported silks, spices, jewels. We import smartphones, designer brands, plastics, electronics, products we don't produce ourselves. Trade imbalances grow. Rome hired foreign mercenaries. Today, global powers rely on contractors, private armies, and foreign bases. Dependence increases vulnerability. Rome's citizen population shrank, reducing tax revenue and military strength. Today, countries worldwide face aging populations, low birth rates, and labor shortages. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So what can we learn from Rome's slow, painful collapse? Here are 3 clear takeaways. Takeaway 1: wealth without productivity is a trap. Rome mastered consumption, not innovation. When the wealth flow stopped, the system crumbled. Modern economies face the same risk. Takeaway 2: a society collapses from the inside, not the outside. Rome wasn't defeated by enemies, it was defeated by corruption, inequality, and financial decay. Internal weakness invites external danger. Takeaway 3: economic systems break slowly, and suddenly, for centuries, Rome looked stable, but beneath the surface, rot spread. Modern societies must pay attention to early cracks, because collapse is always silent at first. If history teaches anything, it's this: great civilizations rarely fall from a single blow. They fall when their systems become too fragile to survive the next crisis. Rome's ruins aren't just relics, they're warnings. If this deep dive into Rome's hidden economic collapse opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who loves history, economics, or mysterious ancient stories. There's so much more to uncover, and together, we can dive even deeper into the rise and fall of the world's greatest empires.